coming from an environment of you can't do anything to where you can do anything, I mean, you got to know what freedom is. I was in Rockford, 40 miles away.
Is it possible then that you were acquitted of what you did do and convicted of what you didn't?
That could be.
Is that what happened?
Don't know. I may have been a sinner, but I'm not a murderer.
This individual is Jack McCullough, a man in his 70s who stands accused of a crime that emerged when he was 17 years old. Following the tragic abduction and homicide of a 7-year-old girl, he underwent extensive questioning by the FBI and his own family regarding his activities on that particular day. This scrutiny has led him to find himself in an interrogation room 55 years after the occurrence of the crime. This was Maria Rudolph, a 7-year-old residing in Sycamore, Illinois, a town that held deep affection for her. However, on the ill-fated day of December 3rd, 1957, she vanished. Despite months of searching and inquiry, her remains were discovered 5 months later in a wooded area near Woodbine, Illinois. At that time, the only lead was a statement from a friend of Maria, who claimed to have seen her with an unfamiliar man in his early 20s, identifying himself as Johnny. The investigation expanded to the local community, leading to Jack McCullough emerging as a potential suspect. To comprehend his background, we must dive into his 3 name changes. During the incident, he bore the name John Tessier, a result of his mother, Eileen McCullough Cherry, marrying Ralph Tessier in November 1944. Ralph and Eileen went on to have 6 additional children, effectively making them 6 step-siblings for John. At the time of Maria's disappearance, John, then 18, resided with his parents and siblings while planning to enlist in the U.S. Air Force, a goal he eventually accomplished. In 1994, he officially changed his name to Jack Daniel McCullough as a homage to his mother, who had passed away that year. Further insights into the family will be explored later in the video. In July 2011, McCullough underwent questioning at the Seattle Police Department. Given his background in law enforcement, the authorities enlisted a seasoned interrogator to ensure a thorough examination without any potential oversight.
50 years ago, a young girl was abducted.
I called that in. I called the FBI about that.
Okay. Back in December 3rd, 1957. Maria, exactly.
Yes.
And we've been going through and doing some new interviewing and new investigations regarding that.
Yeah, I'd be glad to help with that.
And I wanted to talk with you because there's a number of things that came up, additionally, and we value your insights in this. I know we've kind of inconvenienced you, but I think if we can count on your help to resolve this, it'd be great.
Sure.
We've got some. If we can just do some administrative stuff first,
Sure.
Name, address, some biographical stuff, and
Sure.
kind of get that out of the way first, and we can kind of get started with this.
Okay. And your first name is
Jack.
Okay, and your middle name is
Daniel.
McCullough, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you have any other alias or nicknames or anything other than that?
John Cherry.
Okay.
John Tessier. My stepfather.
Okay.
Quickly recalls the purpose of his visit. Initially brought in to provide information on the disappearance of the young girl, he soon becomes aware of his transition into a suspect. As he fills out his personal history form, details emerge about his last 4 years in Seattle, including his phone number, driver's license number, and social security number. The form reveals his previous residence in Tonasket, Washington for a year, his upbringing in Sycamore, Illinois, his employment as a security guard at 4 Freedoms House, and the ownership of 3 or 4 cars, specifically a 2004 green Isuzu and a 2000 dark blue Ford F-150. While the amount of information gathered may seem extensive, it serves the purpose of enabling the police to track his movements and verify his proximity to the crime scene on the night of the murder. At a certain point, he becomes conscious of the substantial information he's revealing, motivating him to raise questions.
And the places you don't, and you've been divorced 3 times?
You're investigating a child, right? You're not investigating me.
Right. This is a personal history form.
All right.
We fill this out for
everybody. All right.
Our command wants us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just do what I'm told,
Yeah. You know why I said you weren't from here?
Why is that?
You got a tan.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a joke. What do you call somebody in Seattle with a tan? Stranger.
Yeah, actually, I just went fishing, and so I was out on the lake.
did you?
I didn't put sunscreen on. And
Yeah.
The officers, employing a light-hearted joke and emphasizing the standard job requirements, managed to restore a sense of trust. In this atmosphere, he willingly continues sharing additional details, such as his 10 years of service in the Army and 4 years in the Air Force. Typically, the reading of rights might be skipped in such situations, but in this instance, we choose to include it to highlight the detective's potential unfair treatment, as they appear to be violating his rights during the interrogation.
Final thing that we do for everyone in Illinois is witness, suspect. I just want to advise you of your rights.
Go ahead.
Okay. Before we ask you any questions, it's my duty to advise you of your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court or other proceedings. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions and have him with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed to you free of cost before questioning if you wish. And you understand that?
That's all good advice. I'm on your side on this.
Okay.
I'm trying to help you.
Right. I mean, like I said,
we just
Yeah, right.
got to follow the boss's rules. You know?
yeah.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Because if the forms ain't filled out,
Yeah.
Okay. When are you going to get to the good part now?
We are done with my
Okay.
part.
I had a dream, and then it reminded me of a conversation I had as a kid. There's a little grade school that's only a block away from my home in Sycamore, which is 227. Oh, you want to write that down? The address in Sycamore?
Okay.
227 Center Cross Street, Sycamore, and I don't remember the 601. 601.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
we'll get it.
Anyway, and this, I was talking to a kid, and he said, "You see that guy over there?" And I was probably 13, and well, I don't know how old I was. Was it 57? You said?
Mm-hmm.
57. No, I was probably 17, 18, 17. Anyway, and he said, "Stay away from that kid. He wants to talk about sex." Okay, so this kid. Now I'm going to have to reach back and remember his name. I think I wrote it to the FBI. But it bothered me enough where I called up, and he lived with two boys named Davies. Don Davies is one of them, and I don't remember the other one. But he was a kid they allowed to stay with them. He didn't have a home in Sycamore.
So he's like a foster kid kind of a thing?
And on the same block as Maria lived.
Well, let me kind of, because I want to come back to this, because this is part of what I want to talk about. But kind of help me. You were, I think you said about 17 or so at the time. Kind of take me back and give me a flavor of what Sycamore was like.
My God, Sycamore is Mayberry RFD. It was a wonderful place to grow up. And I knew everybody. I had paper routes all over town, so I had personal knowledge of everybody. It was just a great town. It still is, but it's grown a little bit too much. A lot of people from Chicago moved out.
Yeah. Everything gets bigger,
Yeah. Well, if you ever get a chance, go there.
Oh, I've been through there many times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a great little town. If I was going to raise kids, that's where I'd do it.
So, at that time, how did you kind of get around town? I mean, was there bus routes or was it bicycles?
I never took a bus. I had when I was younger, it was always a bicycle, and then I became a teenager, and I got an old clunker. My first car was a '48 Plymouth Coupe.
Despite the initial reluctance to proceed, the interrogator's altered statement convinces him to continue sharing. Throughout, his body language remains relaxed, indicating a genuine recounting of memories without fabrication. He elaborates on what he communicated to the FBI during the initial questioning at the time of the incident, stressing his proximity to the location. However, there are sources suggesting that it was McCullough's step-parents, the Tessiers, who informed the police, possibly to absolve their son. Bringing up the detail of the Plymouth coupe becomes crucial in determining whether the kidnapping involved a car or not, providing a valuable lead for the ongoing investigation.
And so everybody was in the 227 residence, huh?
Yeah.
And parents were,
Ralph and Eileen,
how do you spell Eileen?
Eileen.
Okay. And was he, it seemed like you just said he was a foster, or not a foster, a stepdad
Yeah,
or
correct,
something?
correct.
Stepdad, okay.
Yeah.
And so how old was the rest of the group around this December 3rd?
Okay, I was the oldest, so I don't even remember their ages now. Kathy was probably 3 years younger than me. And my brother's probably 5 years younger. And I had another sister who was a couple years younger. I don't even remember.
What are the other sisters' names?
Kathy, Jeannie, Janet, Mary Pat, Nancy Jo.
Now, were they Ralph and Eileen's children?
Yes.
So you're the only step
Correct.
to Ralph then? Huh?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. What were they like to grow up with?
Great.
So, no conflicts, no,
No.
just kind of
Yeah. Is Mayberry. I'm telling you.
Mayberry.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay, so leave it to Beaver kind
Yeah,
of thing. Huh?
exactly.
Okay. So you would find them to be honest, kind
Exactly.
people, so trustworthy.
And all of them brighter than me.
Well, that's then they must be pretty smart, huh?
Yeah.
This part is crucial as McCullough describes the Tessiers as friendly and kind, yet their perspective differs. By the time of Eileen's passing, he had become distant from the Tessier family, reportedly due to a serious incident where he allegedly made threatening remarks. This incident involved Janet and a claim of inappropriate behavior towards his half-sister Jean when she was a minor. The strained relationship was evident when he was explicitly told not to attend Eileen's funeral in 1994. A turning point occurs when, on her deathbed, Eileen shared with Janet stating, "Those two little girls and the one that disappeared, John did it, and you have to tell someone." Following Eileen's passing, Janet spent 14 years attempting to bring this information to law enforcement's attention. However, due to a focus on another suspect and McCullough passing a lie detector test with the FBI, authorities had closed the chapter on Jack McCullough. He seems to be somewhat of an outlier in the family, and the cause for his current interrogation was an email Janet sent to the Illinois State Police tip line in 2008, reopening the cold case. The crucial question here is whether his apparent distance from his family suggests any potential involvement in the past events.
I want to go back to and this to me is kind of a thing. It's kind of like we all remember where we were when President Kennedy was shot or 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the 9/11 for Sycamore. I mean, anybody who we've talked to who's
You're gonna like this. Go ahead.
yeah. So tell me kind of what you remember about that.
The day Maria was kidnapped, I was in the induction center in Chicago. joining the Air Force. I spent the entire day there, and they have a record of it minute by minute.
Well, one thing the military is good about is keeping records, huh?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Requisition this, we need it in triplicate, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was really pissed. The FBI talked to me back then as a suspect, and they even interrogated me, and is because the suspect that they think took Maria had a green coat, and I had a favorite green jacket at the time. So, you know, I'm sure they asked the neighbors, you know, anybody with a green jacket? And yeah, Jack's got one.
So so how did you wind up at the induction center?
I don't know how I got there. I may have taken the train, but I was there most of the day, and yeah, and you can check with the FBI because they gave me a lie detector test, and I was disappointed in them, really, really disappointed, because I had an ironclad alibi of where I was, and they didn't even check, didn't even make a phone call. I was very disappointed.
Well, let's go back and kind of walk me through, because they said let's go to the day before, because you were going downtown or something. Tell me as much as you can remember about, in as much detail as you can remember.
Oh, you mean about downtown Chicago?
Yeah.
Oh, it was a nightmare. The green machine there. You ever been through there?
Downtown?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, no, you've been through the induction center.
Oh, gosh, no, I have not. I have not.
Oh, yeah, it was spread your cheeks and all that kind of stuff all day long. And at the end of it, I got sworn in, and it wasn't very long. I was on a train to Fort Knox.
Okay, now, it seemed that there was something in the file about that you had a medical problem or something.
No medical problem.
That there was a spot on the lung or something?
Oh, that was when I was a child, yeah. I had TB.
Ah, okay.
And miracle happened, and my body cured my TB.
Okay. So,
That was at 3 years old in Ireland.
okay. So, according to the report, they saw the spot on your lung,
Yeah.
and they failed you, but then you had to stay and
No. I passed because the scar was long gone by then. I mean, the scar is still there, but when I first came over in 1946 on Queen Mary, by the way, it wasn't long. They put me in the sanitarium for observation. They found I had nothing, so that was the end of that. And I had good health in the service.
okay. So, what the report said is you had to stay downtown overnight
I don't remember that.
at some YMCA or something.
I don't remember that.
What do you remember? How did you get downtown?
See, I don't remember. I mean, we're talking about many years ago. I know no family member was with me, so I don't think anybody drove me there, so I must have taken the train.
These 4 points raise questions, so let's examine them closely. According to Tessier's parents, When questioned by FBI investigators on December 3, 1957, Tessier was supposedly in Rockford, Illinois, approximately 40 miles northwest of Sycamore, enlisting in the Air Force. However, this account contrasts with his mother's prior statement, as reported by her daughters, stating that Tessier had been at home all night. In his version of events, he claimed to have been in Chicago on December 2nd and 3rd, undergoing the necessary physical examinations for his enlistment. According to his records, on the morning of December 3rd, he visited the Chicago recruiting station and then spent the day sightseeing in Chicago before returning to Rockford by train that evening, arriving at 6:45 p.m. Upon reaching Rockford, he contacted his parents to request a ride home to Sycamore since he had used the train for his trip to and from Chicago, leaving his car at home. Subsequent examination of telephone records revealed that a collect call was made from the Rockford post office to the Tessier home at 6:57 p.m. that evening. The caller identified himself as John Tessier, as noted by the operator. Following the call, Tessier met with officers from the Rockford recruiting station to submit paperwork related to his enlistment. To validate the entire sequence of events, the FBI subjected Tessier to a lie detector test, which he successfully cleared. While his narrative aligns with his alibi, the question arises as to why someone would assert that he wasn't enlisted due to a medical issue. There are gaps in the story that require clarification, and without addressing these missing details, there's a risk of self-incrimination.
You have to purchase your own ticket. Did they give you a ticket?
Don't know. Just don't remember it all. Is it important?
Yeah, we're just trying to, I mean, as much as you can remember is important.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause I mean, I appreciate the fact that we're talking about, you know, over
No,
50
you're looking at me
years
as a
later.
suspect now. I don't like this.
Well, as I told you, there's been some discrepancies in, you know, interviews that we're having, and that's why I'm trying to find these things out to try to see what happened, what went on, and whatever. And I'm looking for you to be as candid as you can and be as remember as much as you can.
I'm trying, but you're barking up the wrong tree. There's nothing
Well,
there.
I may be barking up the wrong tree, but I'm trying to find out what happened on the day and where you were on the day she disappeared.
I already told you.
Well, but
I
I
spent
want.
the entire day in Chicago that day.
Okay, but what time did you get home? Because she wasn't abducted at noon, so that doesn't mean anything to me that you were downtown. I accept the
I don't
fact
even
that you
know
were
when she
downtown.
was abducted. I assumed it was daytime.
So nobody ever told you that?
Nobody ever told me.
Okay. So what, tell me, let's start at the beginning. So you went into the induction center. What time did you get there?
Don't recall.
Okay. What station did you go out of?
Oh, see, you can do all this research in Chicago,
Well, I know I can, but I want to hear what you have to say.
and I'm telling you, it's vague. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Well, here's the thing, is that the story that you gave the FBI
Yeah.
just doesn't match up
Match up to what?
to what people say.
What people say about what?
What people said you were doing and where you were.
Nobody knows what I was doing that day.
Well,
Because I was in Chicago.
You do, and the people. Well, when you got back in the evening, what did you do? This was a big day. I mean, this is a day that.
I probably crashed because it was a hard day.
So you think you were home asleep?
I'm assuming. I didn't have any place else to go. I go home.
So why would people say you weren't there?
Who? What people?
Your sisters?
They don't know.
Well, they say they do.
They don't know where I was back then.
Yeah, they do.
No.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're done.
Well, I'm disappointed because here's the thing.
You're disappointed that I don't have a memory of it?
No, I'm actually I am disappointed in that because I hoped you would have some explanations.
And my sisters think I had anything to do with her abduction?
They just said you weren't home.
Because I was in Chicago.
Overnight?
I don't remember where I stayed. I don't remember how I got home. It's 1957.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, how about if I tell you what you told the FBI?
What do you think I told the FBI?
What they put in your report
Okay.
about the interview that you had.
All right.
Okay? See if this helps you at all. It said that you had gone on the 2nd of December, which would have been the day before, and that you got a train ticket for Rockford, and that you went down to the city, and then you were rejected because of the spot, and that they asked you to stay overnight at the YMCA, and then you went to the second day,
I don't remember any of this.
and that you had another physical exam, apparently, and then you came back to Rockford.
I might have joined in Rockford, but that's just paperwork. And I joined twice. Because I got out for a year and went back. And Rockford wasn't in the first thing at all, I don't think. Rockford was the second time I enlisted, which would have been 1960 or 61.
Well, apparently you were delivering stuff to Rockford, to the post office.
No recollection of that.
Well, that's what you told them,
I told who?
the FBI. So I'm assuming you didn't lie to them, right?
No, but I don't remember anything about this.
Okay, but I'm just, I mean, if you lied to them about something, then this is incorrect. If you told them the truth about that, then the information that they have in their report should accurately reflect what you told them. Would that be correct then?
If you've got any kind of documentation from back then, great. But I don't remember any of it.
Okay, so the story that you told the FBI was that you got, on December 3rd, you went to some burlesque shows after you left the green machine or whatever you called it, and then took a train back to Rockford at 5 o'clock, and it got you in about 8:30. Or not 8:30.
Sounds reasonable.
Okay, I mean, do you remember?
Back to where?
To Rockford.
Why would I go for Rockford when I live in Sycamore?
I don't know. That's where you claim to have been.
The only attachment I had to Rockford, besides marrying my wife from there, was the induction center was there. Not the induction, but the what do you call it?
Recruiting office?
The recruiting office was there.
Okay.
I went with a buddy. He wanted to join the service, and it's funny. Let me tell you this quick.
So the story that you tell the FBI is that you go down on the 2nd, you fail because of this spot, so they talk to the recruiter and they re-examine you on the 3rd. And then you finish that, and then you go to a burlesque house or a couple of burlesque houses.
Don't remember anything like that.
Well, I would hope you'd remember that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And so then you take the train back to Rockford, and you go to the post office to drop some papers off.
Don't know.
But if you told them that, that would be an accurate reflection if they put it in the report that way.
I would assume.
Okay. And then they said that you made a call home to get a ride. How did you, do you think, how would you get up to Rockford?
Don't know if I had my car then. I think I sold it. So Dad would have probably come and got me.
Okay, so how would you got up there?
From in what time frame? What
Well,
day?
on the second.
On the second? Maybe with the buddy that we went to the different places with.
So who do you think that might have been?
Oh, no idea.
Well, who did you hang around back then?
I don't even think he was a friend of mine. I think he was just along.
So who would he have been?
I have no idea.
Then how do you know you don't have a relationship with him?
Because I have no idea.
At this stage, 3 possibilities come into consideration. Firstly, there's the chance that the detectives might be providing false information legally, and he is, in fact, truthful. Alternatively, it's plausible that he genuinely struggles to recall events from 60 years ago. Lastly, there remains the possibility that he's a skillful liar, making it challenging to discern the truth. While we can't dismiss the theory that memory loss might be a factor, his noticeable agitation adds a layer of complexity. His statement, "I think we're done," implies a reluctance to answer further questions. Despite this, the detective continues pressing him, extending the interrogation. It's crucial to recognize that Jack's willing cooperation has been helpful in providing valuable information to the detectives. Given this cooperation, the detectives should approach with caution to maintain his willingness to collaborate and potentially uncover breakthroughs in the case.
I wasn't there. I'm just going by what you
Yeah,
told
right.
me.
Okay, we're going to go back and say, you're saying they said, because I don't know it.
I'm just telling you what they wrote in their official report
Okay.
to here. So I wasn't obviously there because
Yeah.
I was probably still in diapers.
Yeah.
So then they said that your dad came and got you.
Probably.
Okay. And then they said that you were going to go out with your girlfriend.
So,
Well, I'm just asking if you remember.
don't remember.
Okay. But that's what they say anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. And that you had a date with her.
I had a girlfriend back when I was going to go in the service, yeah.
And what was her name?
Janice Edwards.
Okay. And then they said that you were on a date with her until 10:30, and then you went out searching for Maria.
Oh, I remember searching. We went out to some farms in DeKalb.
And when did you do that?
Don't know.
I mean, was it that night?
Don't know.
Okay. How did you get out to the farms in DeKalb?
Drove,
So you took your car?
probably.
Okay. And who did you go with?
I don't know if I went with anybody. There were lots of people searching at the time. I just joined in with some people that were going here and there.
So nobody that you knew, or you just...
Nobody I knew.
And then it said that you, the following day, which would have been the 4th, you went searching with Jack Manis. And then you found sex magazines that you turned into the police.
Don't remember anything like that. And Jack Manis, although I knew him, not the kind of guy I hang around with.
Hmm? But That's what you told the FBI, was that you did that with him.
Okay.
So the problem is that if we accept this story as what you told them, I mean, unless they just made up lies about you, okay? So we take this as...
See, the thing that bothers me is I don't remember even talking to him that much. I remember taking the lie detector test, and that's it. There was a guy that was assigned to me, and he drove me around a lot. He drove me around town and asked me if I had any ideas about different people that they may be looking at, or if I had any ideas who might know anything. And he was a really nice guy too. I really liked him. But after they did the lie detector test, they let me go and didn't bother me anymore.
Okay. So when we start to look at the story that you tell here, okay, and we've done a lot of interviews, there's things that just aren't right. Okay. First of all, you had the nickname Johnny, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So the person that was introduced themselves to the girls said he was Johnny. Okay. Who knows? Okay. The description of the person matches you down to the gap in the teeth.
Yeah, that's really was surprising.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, but you know, that's what they the height, the weight.
But see, that was my neighborhood. Everybody knew me. So if they had seen me on the street, Maria's parents knew me. I used to play with their daughters in the backyard.
See, and that's, you know, well, the description isn't coming from Maria, though. It's coming
she was
Kathy.
kidnapped.
Right. It's coming from Kathy, the other girl that was there. So she described somebody who looked remarkably like you and had the gap in the teeth, the same color hair.
See, I didn't hear anything about these descriptions. The only thing I heard was he had a green jacket.
Well, actually, it was a sweater that was the description.
All right, I don't have a green sweater. I had a jacket.
Well, and it wasn't a green sweater. It was a multicolored sweater.
See, it's not me.
Yeah, well, but your family says that you had a multicolored sweater that was just the same description, and that after Maria disappears, that sweater disappears.
Oh, this is bullshit.
Well, that's why I want to sit and talk to you about it. I mean, it might
This
be
is
bullshit,
bullshit.
but
Number one, I don't ever remember a multicolored sweater. My favorite jacket was a fuzzy green jacket which I bought myself. My favorite shirt at the time was a blue silk shirt, kind of shiny. And
well, this apparently was a sweater that you wore all the time, and then nobody in the family saw it after Maria disappeared.
so there's no records in Chicago at the induction center?
Oh, I'm not even questioning the induction center. We're talking about in Sycamore is what I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
I accept the fact you were in the induction center. Absolutely, you were there.
Absolutely.
Okay, I don't doubt that for a
All
second.
right.
Okay, but now we're talking about the evening of the 3rd, because she isn't taken till 6 p.m. So what happens on the
See, I didn't
2nd
even
and
know
what
that.
happens all day long, and on the 3rd downtown in the induction center is really
I
irrelevant.
didn't even know that.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear until years later that some mushroom hunters found her somewhere down south.
Mm-hmm. So here's the other issues. Let me just go through it. You know, kind of. I want to tell you what you said and then what everybody else says, just to be fair to you.
Yeah.
Okay? So that you call your house with a collect call, and you're on the phone for about 2 minutes.
I did that a lot. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you did it the evening of her disappearance. Okay. Now, it's supposed to be for somebody to go pick you up. Now, the family says, well, that nobody can go pick you up because Ralph's not at home. He's taking Kathy to a 4-H club meeting in DeKalb someplace, okay? And by the time he gets back, it's like 8:30, 20 to 9, because the police have already been contacted. There's squad cars all over the place. Everybody's looking for Maria, who's gone.
Yeah.
Okay. But you tell the FBI that your dad picks you up at 8 o'clock. But he can't, because he's running your sister back and forth from this.
This is all so wet, because who knows about what time exactly you do anything? I was a kid.
Well, we know for sure that she had this. We know what time the police were contacted. We know what time they arrived. So for her to see all these cars and ask what happened, it already has to be done. So at this point, it's 8:30, 20 to 9. Now you, in your statement to the FBI, claim that you're back in town at 9:20.
So
Well,
it's a half an hour drive to Rockford.
okay, but you also say that you're going out on a date with Jan, and Jan says, we didn't go out on a date.
Yeah,
And she said, I know we didn't go out on a date because my parents wouldn't let me out of the house because of what was going on with the abduction of Maria.
oh,
So now we have a couple of other inconsistencies. Why are you telling people you went on a date when you couldn't have gone on a date?
who said I couldn't have gone on a date?
Well, Jan says. She says her parents wouldn't let her out of the house. You weren't there. So, I mean, that's I'm just telling you. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I can only go by what you told the FBI.
I don't even remember any of this.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you what the FBI wrote and
Yeah,
what they said. And
So how does that make me a suspect?
well, let's review. Your name is Johnny.
Yeah.
The guy who took him says his name is Johnny.
Really?
Yeah. His description, including the gap in the teeth, looks just like you. We've got a sweater that matches what she describes the guy was
There's
wearing.
a car description, isn't there?
In the final moments, a notable shift occurs as he crosses his arms, signaling a closure to his open-mindedness. This physical gesture suggests a transition towards evasiveness and a potential onset of aggression in his responses. Considering the strained relationships with his family, it becomes challenging to regard their statements against him as entirely credible, given the evident bias. Despite his age, the emergence of aggression in his demeanor is concerning. Even if he is recounting truthful information, the escalating aggressiveness in his responses adds a layer of incrimination. The situation is becoming increasingly unfavorable, with his demeanor potentially overshadowing the credibility of his statements.
We'll come to that.
All right.
Okay. But that sweater disappears.
Yeah.
You say your dad picks you up, Ralph, and yet Ralph can't be picking you up because he's taking care of your sister, running her back and forth. You say, I went out on a date with my girlfriend. She says, no, we didn't. My parents wouldn't let me go out. He never came over. You say, I stayed the night
Where?
in your home.
Probably.
The girls say you weren't there. And they know you weren't there because Ralph and your mom went to help search and help to feed the people. And they put a lock on the front door so that they couldn't get in. They put a 2x4 across the back door so they couldn't get in. And they told the girls, one of you has to sleep on the couch and let us in when we get here. They come home at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, let them in, you're not there. So where are you?
I might be in Chicago.
You can't be in Chicago. I mean, you could be in Chicago, but you said you were in Rockford. Your phone call comes from Rockford. So you can't be in Chicago if the phone call collect is from Rockford.
This is all bullshit. I don't know anything about it. I can't remember any of this that you're telling me.
Well, let's go on.
And you're trying.
Let me just continue here.
You're trying to say there's a pattern, and there's no pattern. I was in Chicago when this all happened.
No, you weren't, because it happened at 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You're already in Rockford, so you can't be in Chicago.
Well, if I'm in 6 o'clock in Rockford, where's
We're
making me a
7
suspect?
o'clock and in Rockford.
Well, where's the objection?
The problem is that nobody sees you searching in the evening. So I'm
I
just
wasn't
telling you.
searching in the evening. I didn't even know about it
So then,
until later.
where did you go?
Huh?
I mean, this is a big deal. Everybody's out searching, screaming for the little
No,
girl.
I went searching like the next day.
Well, see, and that's the same thing. To the FBI, you say that you're with Jack Manis, and that you find magazines, sex magazines, that you turn into the police department. The police department says, we didn't get any magazines from anybody. Jack Manis says, number one, you weren't with him. Number two, he didn't find any magazines, and if he did find them, he would have kept them.
This is all bogus. I don't remember anything about any magazine.
Well, I'm just telling you what you told the FBI.
What they say I said.
Well,
I'm not saying I said it.
well, I'm just
It sounds to me like they're making shit up. And I'm telling you already how disappointed I am in the FBI.
Well, I would say, you also told the FBI that you had some sex play with your sister.
Oh my God! I took a lie detector test.
We're talking about what you said.
Yeah, right.
Did you have sex with your sister?
And they said, and he said, when was this? I said, when we were little.
Okay. Now, your sister says that it wasn't just when you were little.
So
Well, so what I'm pointing out here is that if you say you told them the FBI the truth,
yeah.
and you were little, and yet at the same time you're having sex with your sister.
I am not having sex with my sisters.
They say you are.
I am not.
Not now. I don't know if you're now. You're probably
Did
not.
not.
But, well, that's not what they say.
Did not.
That's not what they say.
Doesn't matter.
Well, that's fine. I'm just telling you what not just one, but multiple sisters have said.
Right.
Okay. They also say, well, actually, Dave Frederick says that he saw your car driving in the late afternoon in Sycamore.
So
Well, you said nobody drives your car but you.
I'm telling you, I don't remember any of this.
I'm just telling you what everybody's saying.
All right.
Your mother also says that to Janet and Mary that you killed her, Maria.
This is a lie. This is a lie. My mother loved me to death.
I know she did.
And
I know did, but
she was crying when the FBI wanted to talk to me.
I have no doubt, because she also told them some lies to the FBI.
My mother doesn't lie.
Well, she said you were home all night, and the girls sat right there and said, he couldn't be in. We looked, he wasn't home, the doors are all locked, nobody can get in without us opening the door, and your mother didn't tell the FBI the truth. Now, she may have been protecting you, but I have...
Protecting me by saying I murdered them? Murdered a girl?
I think that's what she was thinking that you did here, and I think...
No, this is bullshit. It's all bullshit. My mother wouldn't say that.
Your mother did say that.
She didn't.
Yeah.
No, she didn't.
Well, and here's the other problem, is that...
Because my mother knew where I was that day.
forget about during the day at the Army. That means nothing. because the incident doesn't happen until 6 o'clock at night. I agree with you. I absolutely 100%, absolutely 100% agree that you were down in the city having a physical.
Yeah.
Okay. That's irrelevant.
Yeah.
The incident doesn't happen till after 6 at night.
And where was I?
Well, you claim that you're in Rockford.
So?
So,
Where does the train get off?
in Rockford?
It doesn't go to Sycamore.
Well, apparently not.
Okay, and if I'm in Rockford at 7 o'clock, I make a phone call from there at 7 o'clock and ask for a ride?
Yeah. But nobody can come get you.
So, I got a thumb, I can hitchhike.
Well, you know, the other problem is that, you know, we can take all this stuff that's being said here, but when you're given a ticket by the military to go
Sure,
downtown, right?
sure.
Okay. So it doesn't make any sense not to take the ticket.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The problem is that the ticket didn't get used. Yeah, I mean, you know how the military is. Here's your ticket to go to Rockford, or to go from Rockford to Chicago. You never used it. You know where this comes from? Jan Edwards. You know how women are sentimental; they keep everything.
Yeah.
She's got a picture of you, and she said, "Yeah, John gave me this."
That's really funny.
Well, I think it's not funny. I think it questions whether or not you were involved in this.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm not involved. You can give me a lie detector test, I'll pass it.
Okay, all right. Why don't we do that right now?
All right?
Okay, good. You want another cup of coffee?
No.
Okay. Be back with you in just a second.
I'm going to talk to you.
You want to talk to me?
Yeah.
About what?
About who I think did it.
Okay.
Nobody seems to be interested in what I'm saying.
Okay.
Now, it has become a classic, he said, she said situation, with his potentially forgetful memory conflicting with his statements to the FBI. Despite this, he denies having strained relations with the family. In an attempt to resolve the uncertainty, a lie detector test is suggested to definitively settle the matter. However, before proceeding, the detective takes one last attempt to extract information by outlining the potential consequences, a move that might prompt a confession from Jack. The atmosphere is tense, and the outcome of the impending lie detector test holds the promise of shedding light on the truth.
What are you saying to me now?
What I'm saying to you now is you think I had something to do with it.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I think you had something to do with the murder. Did I say that I think you had something to do with being there with those two girls before she was taken? I said you're being deceptive about something. You were deceptive. You were deceptive in your polygraph with the FBI. You were deceptive when your mother, on her deathbed, believes that you were involved in this. On her deathbed, she said this. Okay. Are you telling me you don't know about that?
Don't know about that.
Okay.
I don't believe it either.
You don't believe that?
Huh.
I'll go and I'll find the documentation on that for you and I'll bring it to you. Okay?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Why would your mother say that to you? Your mother doesn't seem, all the reports that I read, it doesn't seem like your mother's the type of person who's going to make something up out of nowhere.
No, she wouldn't.
Okay.
And this didn't happen.
And what didn't happen?
What you're telling me didn't happen.
That your mother didn't, on her deathbed, didn't say you did this?
Yes, right. My mother knew I didn't do it.
Yeah. So she just made this up? She decided to
Somebody
tell you
made
about
it up. Somebody made it up. There's a whole bunch of making up here.
Who's making up? Are these people?
I've heard so many things today I had no knowledge of.
Well, I don't know what the other guys asked you about.
Yeah.
But this girl here is saying this is Johnny.
Yeah.
This girl here gets a train ticket, an unused train ticket that you were supposed to have used and you didn't use that night, that she still happened to have by Johnny.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm saying that you were involved in this.
There's no way my mother would say that unless she was out of her mind.
Was your mother out of her mind at that time when she was dying?
No.
Well, you know, you told me earlier that you talked to her every single day.
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did say
Every
that.
month.
Oh, every month that you talked to her.
Yes.
Not every day.
Every month of her life.
So when you were talking to her while she was
Even
dying,
when I was overseas, I called her.
did she have some dementia at the end when she died? And I
Could-
believe this was the
she had-
early 90s that she
She had
died?
cancer.
But why, if she had cancer, would she say you did this? That you were involved
She
in
died
this?
of cancer. They took so much out of her, there wasn't anything left to take out.
And she never mentioned this to you then,
No.
at the end?
No.
So she doesn't sound like she's a spiteful. Excuse me. She's not spiteful, is she?
No.
Without a confession, the logical next step is to prepare him for the lie detector test. After being read his Miranda rights and the polygraph statement of consent, he undergoes an hour-long examination. However, before freely sharing all his information, he subtly signals to the interrogator to respect and not violate his rights.
What year is that?
I've got a Isuzu.
Okay.
I think it's a 2004.
2004. Do you know the what's the color?
The color is cream.
Green?
Yeah. It's kind of like Eddie Bauer colors.
Okay. Okay. Is that the only car you guys have? Does your
No.
wife have a car?
No, I got a.
You don't have like 8 cars, do
I
you?
got 3.
Oh, 3? Okay.
3 or 4.
Oh, gee. All
Let's
right.
see. I got 3 here and 1 in Tonasket.
Just give me your vehicle and your wife's vehicle. That's all I would need.
Well, that's the vehicle we use the most. I also have a truck.
Okay. It's a 2000 or
It's well, I remember what it is. It's a. I don't even remember. I got it at auction.
okay. What kind of vehicle is it?
It's a Ford 150.
Ford 150.
Yeah,
How about the color?
dark blue.
Okay.
It's notable that this is the second time he has expressed a desire to end the interview, yet the detectives haven't acknowledged his request, and the conversation hasn't concluded in silence. In a lie detector test, refusing to answer can be perceived as more incriminating, but it's crucial to recognize that he is exercising his rights. Jack's voluntary cooperation demonstrates a willingness to assist the authorities, suggesting a motive to help. During the hour-long polygraph test, we'll dive into some key moments to gain a better understanding of his perspective and side of the story. This examination aims to shed light on the reliability of his statements and potentially uncover more insights into the case.
Start this whole thing and backpedal, okay? Because I came into this late in the game. Why are you here?
Exactly. I don't know why I'm here. I'm here because the FBI did not do a good job.
Well, let's back up even further than that. What are they alleging that you did?
Murder a little girl
Okay. When?
in 1957,
Okay.
and
What part of the year?
I don't even remember.
Late
It was-
December or something like that?
Oh, I do remember.
December the 3rd?
Yes, it was December. That's yeah, right. Because right after then I went to service,
Okay.
and yeah, and I went in the Air Force. Yeah.
Okay. And why did they think that you murdered this little girl?
I fit the description of the person.
Okay. And what is this little girl's name?
Maria Ridoff.
Okay. How long after did they discover the
It
body?
must have been a long time because I came back years later and found out that she had been recovered.
Mhm.
But there was a big question as to whether this story was true because it wasn't mushroom hunting season,
Mhm.
and maybe probably just people looking for an excuse to be in the woods.
Mhm.
But
Do you think those guys were fitting then?
I don't know.
The reason why they were in the woods? You said that they
No,
were mushroom
that-
hunting?
Yeah, there was, I think it was in the paper maybe, that there was a question why these people were in the woods, and they said they were mushroom hunting.
Yeah.
And some people that I
What
spoke.
is mushroom hunting season anyway?
I don't know. It's when it,
I have no idea. I never pick mushrooms myself. Isn't that generally in the fall?
Probably.
Yeah.
It has to be moist, doesn't it? Moist time.
Yeah, one has to be So.
But anyway, that's all I know about that. If they ever find them, the punishment can't be enough. But then again, how old is that person going to be now? They're going to be my age or older.
Yeah. So you think they should be strung up?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
She needs justice.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, when I became 17, I joined the service, and it was a good move. I enjoyed.
Why don't we stop right there?
Yeah.
When you joined the service, how was joining the service?
I floundered my first 4 years. I really floundered. I didn't make any rank. I did go to Japan and enjoyed the heck out of that.
Well, why don't we just go back to the day in question that we're talking about, which is December 3rd, the day Maria disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay. Where were you?
I was in the Army Induction Center. Well, I was going into the Air Force, but the Induction Center in Chicago, 60 miles away.
And when did you go there?
I spent most of the day there.
Which day did you go?
The day she was kidnapped.
Okay. So you didn't go the day before or anything like that?
I might have gone to Rockford and done testing and stuff like that.
Just testing at Rockford?
Yeah.
Not in Chicago?
That's where that's where you enlist.
Mm-hmm.
You enlisted, or that's where I enlisted in Rockford.
Mm-hmm.
Which is about 30 miles away from Sycamore.
How does one get to Rockford anyway, back in the day?
I don't think I drove because I was going to take the train, so maybe somebody took me, or I hitchhiked, I don't know.
You mean a young man at that age doesn't have a car?
I had a car, but I was going in service, so I sold it.
Oh, so you didn't think you were, coming back?
I was probably not going to see that car again.
Mm-hmm.
And I just joined for 4 years, so I didn't plan on coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying I cramped in my leg. All right.
So, what day did you go to Rockford?
We're talking a long time ago here. I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
What day did you get inducted in?
All I remember is the day Maria was kidnapped.
Which was December the 3rd?
That's the day I was in Chicago.
I thought you go through induction in Rockford.
There's no induction.
Okay, so what happens in Rockford?
The induction center is in Chicago. Okay. The enlisting center
is in Rockford.
Yes. Okay. So I spent the entire day there, and that can be easily verified because they were looking, they were taking all kinds of blood tests and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So every minute of my day.
So is there like a train that leaves your little town that goes to Rockford?
No. I think the train goes from, my little town, there's no train between my little town and Rockford.
Okay. So, but from Rockford to Chicago.
The case against McCullough unfolds, and despite his seemingly truthful demeanor during the polygraph test, the combination of his aggressive responses and external pressure from the Tessier and Rudolph families leads to his arrest for the kidnapping and murder of Maria Rudolph. The absence of DNA evidence makes this a challenging case, relying primarily on a timeline that becomes increasingly difficult for him to recall due to his seniority. The autopsy report introduces the theory that that Maria was stabbed, adding complexity to the trial. In September 2012, as the trial commenced, the prosecution initially focuses on the narrative that McCullough was attracted to Maria and chose to abduct her. The prosecution presents various witnesses, including Maria's family members, neighbors, law enforcement personnel, and Kathy Sigmund Chapman, a key witness who identifies McCullough as Johnny, the man who approached her and Maria 6 decades earlier. Another childhood friend of Maria's testifies that she too was offered a piggyback ride by Johnny, identifying him as McCullough. Additionally, 3 inmates who were imprisoned with McCullough testify that he spoke about killing Maria. However, their accounts are inconsistent and fail to align with evidence indicating that Maria had been stabbed. The trial unfolds with a mix of testimonies, leaving the case open to scrutiny. During the trial, one inmate claimed that McCullough mentioned strangling Maria with a wire, while another asserted that McCullough accidentally smothered her to silence her screams. The defense contended that the pressure from the Rudolph and Tessier families led prosecutors and police to implicate McCullough, despite the absence of physical evidence, a clear motive, or proof that he was in the vicinity when Maria was abducted. McCullough, following the advice of his attorneys, and fearing potential aggression, opted not to testify in his own defense. Despite the challenges and inconsistencies in the evidence, on September 14, 2012, McCullough was convicted of the kidnapping and murder of Maria Rudolph. The court sentenced him to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 20 years. At the time of sentencing, McCullough was 73 years old. Following his conviction, many believed the case had reached its conclusion. However, upon closer scrutiny of the trial, it became apparent that the prosecution had relied heavily on witness statements and familial pressure for a crime that occurred 6 decades ago. The credibility of these statements went unquestioned during the trial, and the evidence was not thoroughly reevaluated. After spending 3 years in prison, McCullough took action by filing a petition for post-conviction relief, which was further pursued by a public defender. This successive motion couldn't be dismissed without a hearing from the state attorney's office. The newly appointed state attorney, Richard Schmock, who had replaced Clay Campbell, conducted an exhaustive review of the evidence. Shockingly, he concluded that McCullough could not have committed the crime and was, in fact, innocent. Schmock revealed that crucial evidence supporting McCullough's alibi, such as phone records confirming a collect call from a payphone in Rockford, not Sycamore, was kept out of the trial. Given the 40-mile distance between the two cities, McCullough could not have been in Sycamore at the time of Maria Rudolph's disappearance. This revelation sparked a re-examination of the case and raised questions about the initial conviction. Following a court hearing in March 2016, Judge William P. Brady of the Illinois Circuit Court took a significant step by vacating McCullough's original conviction and sentence, thereby ordering a new trial. It's essential to note that McCullough had already served about 4 years by this point. A week later, the judge dismissed the charges against McCullough, but did so without bias, implying that he could potentially face murder charges again if a prosecutor chooses to pursue them. In response to this development, Maria Rudolph's brother, Charles, mobilized hundreds of Sycamore citizens to sign a motion requesting the appointment of a special prosecutor, indicating a lack of confidence in Schmock's handling of McCullough's case. However, the judge denied this motion, and Charles later declared that he would not appeal the ruling. After a prolonged legal battle, and 5 years of serving a life sentence, a significant shift occurred in McCullough's case.
76-year-old Jack McCullough is a free man this morning after an unexpected and unwarranted prison sentence for the 1957 murder of a 7-year-old girl. Turns out he didn't do it.
This new information is information that the trial court did not have available to consider when it's made its ruling.
With McCullough's release, the murder of Maria Rudolph becomes once more a mystery.
The relief for McCullough must have been profound. Targeted by 2 families, 2 detectives, and the FBI, he found himself cleared of a 60-year-old crime. Despite his honesty in interrogations and 2 lie detector tests, he endured 5 years of a life sentence. It was only through the relentless efforts of public defenders and newly appointed prosecutors that justice prevailed. However, this victory also emphasizes that 7-year-old Maria Rudolph did not receive justice, even after 66 years. This case serves as a moving illustration of how a 76-year-old man can be wrongfully convicted in a decades-old crime, highlighting the complexities and potential drawbacks in the pursuit of justice. Remember, it's your curiosity that fuels this channel. Keep exploring, stay inspired, and join us for more amazing content next time.